In this episode, barbells versus dumbbells. In other words, Lord Swoledemort versus Dumbelledore. Who will survive on this Super Swole Sunday?
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 275 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular podcast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. This is the Swolecast, the Swolenormous Swolecast, the Daily Swole, episode 275. Thank you for joining me live on Facebook every day at 12 noon Eastern Time, watching on YouTube and listening on SoundCloud and iTunes. So on this podcast, the biceps are large, the nipples are hard, and we are going balls deep today. We're going balls deep because it is super swole Sunday, and it's going to be lit like a tit. This episode, we're going barbell and dumbbell. We're going to do two teams. We're going to do two teams just like as a Super Bowl, if you like, as a foosball, yes? Today, this battle features Lord Swoledemort versus Albus Dumbelledore. Two of the greats going head-to-head, just like Everest and K2. Which gain will rule them all? Which gain will rule them all? This is Super Swole Sunday, dumbbell versus barbell. Swoledemort versus Dumbelledore. So let's break down a little bit about each. Let's talk about dumbbells, talk about barbells, and let's see what's going down. Let's see what's going down. Let's see what we can get into. So barbells and dumbbells. Two different options in the gym. Barbells, you have really one bar and you have different plates that you can add onto it for different weights, and that might make a lot of sense, but you need less equipment overall for increased weight and decreased weight. Dumbbell, you have those that you can adjust the outsides of the weights, but usually they don't go that heavy. Basically, usually the situation, as it usually is, unless you have a home gym, is you have a dumbbell, you have 5-pound dumbbell, then you have a 10-pound dumbbell. So you generally need more equipment, and they have those Bowflex dumbbells, and they have those ones where you can put the plates on and spin the end caps on, but generally they are fixed. They're safer when they're fixed, and they go heavier when they are fixed. So dumbbell, you kind of need more space, and it might be a little bit time-consuming to change, so you have a little bit more variety or quick or ease of access, less equipment overall you have to buy. Price could be the same, depends on where you buy, so I'm not getting into price or cost, but a barbell, you need overall less equipment for a variety of different weights. However, with a barbell, you can only go minimum, usually depends on the size of the bar, maybe 20, 30, or 45 pounds as the standard Olympic bar. You can't go less than that. So dumbbells, you can have 1-pound dumbbells, 2-pound dumbbells. So barbell has a minimum of usually 30, 40 pounds or more. And then you have, for example, dumbbells where you can go all the way down to the bottom. So what's your option? Which one's better? Which one wins on this aspect? It depends on what you're using it for. Like anything else, depends on what it's for, because with a barbell, you might not need, if you're doing deadlifts, you might not need to go less than just the bar, for example. So you have a couple different options. When it comes to area, space, now, you might need less space for a barbell for a couple reasons. If you're in a gym or you're at home, a barbell you can lean up against the wall. However, when you're using the barbell, generally it has to go, you need a minimum space sideways, for example, the length of the bar. With a dumbbell or with dumbbells, you might not need as much space. Now, of course, it depends on the exercise you're doing, but when you have dumbbells, you might be able to just be within maybe like a 3 square foot area, whereas a barbell, you need a minimum the length of the bar or the height of the bar, depending on the exercise. So that could depend on really what you're using it for or the space you have available. Now, the good thing is that both of these types of exercises, barbell and dumbbell, you can both do compound exercises. Compound exercises are exercises that utilize more than one joint. So a bicep curl is not a compound exercise because you're only using the elbow joint primarily. A tricep pushdown is not a compound exercise. It is a single joint exercise. So compound and multi-joint are the same. For example, a squat, because you use the ankle, knee, and the hip, That is compound. A bench press, you have the shoulder and you have the elbow. That's a compound movement. A barbell row, shoulder and elbow again. And of course, the hip has isometric tension when you're leaning forward. So you have a compound movement again. Pull-up, compound movement, elbow, shoulder. So you have certain exercises that use multi-joint and certain exercises that are single joint. And you can do a tricep press and you can do a dumbbell curl with a barbell. So both of them can do compound or single joint exercises, but you're going to have dumbbells. Are going to be a little bit easier to do more of those isolation exercises because of the free moving ability of the weights. I am not a medical doctor, Anthony. I am a doctor of sick fucking gains, however. I have my PhD in Swolosity from the University of Gainesville, and I'm currently working on some other certifications, but I don't want to bore you with all that information. Dumbbells and barbells when it comes to stability and neuromuscular activation. Dumbbells need more stability for this reason, because you're balancing more weights. So the stabilization and the neuromuscular activation for a dumbbell is greater because you are utilizing more muscle fibers to maintain the path of the dumbbells. You're balancing more weight. You're using two weights instead of one, and the proprioception and the neuromuscular coordination is greater with a dumbbell. However, with a barbell, you have a potential for more force production because you don't need to activate quite as many stabilizers because you're balancing less weight. You're using the interaction and the assimilation of multiple muscles on both sides of the body bilaterally. You can create more force. This is why people lift heavier with a barbell. You don't see powerlifting competitions with dumbbells or deadlifts with dumbbells. When you don't see 600-pound deadlifts with 300-pound dumbbells each. You don't see that, because more force production and the height of the bar, it's more regulated, it's more safe for higher weights. And yeah, the stabilizers. So you're still doing stabilizers when you're doing barbell exercises, but the increased force production potential is greater with a barbell. That's why it's used for heavier lifts. The dangerous part is when those stabilizers, that's why on this show, and that's why Swolenormous, and that's why we preach here, and Papa fucking Swolenormous always tells you to work your stabilizers, do yoga, do these isolation exercises, and do these stabilizer movements to activate the stabilizers, because most people hurt the stabilizers when they're doing barbell. And you've seen this before. People hurt their hips when they do squats. They tear their rotator cuff when they're doing bench pressing because the stabilizers are weak and they're being overloaded with too much force when they're not prepared and they're not qualified. Okay, when the stabilizers are not qualified for that type of force production and that type of support on the joint during a barbell movement, they can get hurt. Not to mention the next portion of our discussion. This is going to segue right into that. So they complement one another. You mean barbell and dumbbell? They can. You can do stabilization exercise with a barbell. However, because of the minimum weight. So if you have a barbell and it's 45 pounds, let's talk about a standard Olympic bar. If you have a standard Olympic bar and it's 45 pounds, I mean, think about that. You can't go less than 45 pounds. And stabilizer muscles are hit over a lower intensity and a longer duration. So you need to hit a stabilizer muscle, you're going lighter in weight and you're doing more repetitions with a slower movement. So the time under tension is greater, the reps are greater, and the weight is lighter. And because you have a minimum weight with a barbell, you're limited in what capacity you can hit stabilizers, if you could really isolate them at all, because 45 pounds is oftentimes far too much weight to isolate these stabilizer muscles. So that's why dumbbells are really effective. And for a lot of stabilization exercise, you only need 2-pound dumbbells, 3-pound dumbbells, maybe 5. You don't need a lot of weight. So it's all about how you perform the movement, and bottom line, if you're strong enough. And if you're not strong enough to do it with a barbell in most cases, then you're not going to be able to hit them or isolate them as well. So you need to dumbbells are just better for stabilization exercises, bar none, because you're balancing more weight, you're doing more stabilization by itself, but you can drop the weight lighter and you have a freer range of motion so you can isolate those muscles better. So when it comes down to force production, you have also another limitation, because dumbbells can be held in endless ways. You can customize it. If you have injuries or joint pain, a lot of people have issues when it comes to barbell because it's a bar. It's a straight bar. You cannot adjust the bar. You have to adjust your wrist position. You have to adjust your elbow position in order to grab the bar. That's why some people, when they do barbell curls, it hurts your elbow or hurts your wrist or your forearm. You do an overhead press, but it hurts your shoulder. But then you grab dumbbells and you don't feel any shoulder pain, because sometimes a degree or two of the movement of the humerus can open up the entire joint and reduce friction, whereas a barbell might lock you into place and you're going to grind that shoulder capsule whether you like it or not. And especially with overhead presses, really, if you have shoulder issues or if you want to prevent shoulder issues, you should minimize overhead pressing. Minimize it, but you should always do it with a dumbbell. Always do it with dumbbell. You don't need a barbell, because those overhead presses with the bar cause a lot of pressure inside the shoulder capsule, because most people have very closed shoulder capsules. And without going off the rails too much in that direction, holding dumbbells, bringing the elbows into the front, give your shoulders a much greater range of motion and much freer range of motion. You could try this at home. Put your arms out to the side, pinch them back, and push them all the way up. You probably won't be able to get them straight, but then bring them to the front like you're holding two dumbbells neutrally and push them up, and you'll feel the free range of motion. And you're still working the anterior deltoid, so it's safer. With the shoulders, because everyone's shoulder is different, because everyone's joint position is different, because everyone's body moves differently and has different injuries and different, muscle balances, that dumbbells are usually a better option for many exercises for many people, and they can reduce the risk of injury potentially. The great thing in closing is that barbell and dumbbell, Swolenormous and dumbbell door, are good for all levels. And that's the best part of all of this, is that a barbell is great for beginners, and so are dumbbells. And it depends on the exercise. It depends on the exercise, depends on the experience, and depends on what you have access to. So if you only have access to dumbbells, you're not gonna lose gains. If you only have access to a barbell, you're not gonna lose gains. You may be limited in certain exercise, but let's say you don't have access to dumbbells. You only have a bar. Let's say you can't afford a set of dumbbells. Well, you can get jugs of water and fill them with sand, or fill them with water and weigh them on a scale, and you could have 2 dumbbells for corrective exercise. Just get 2 milk jugs and put 3 pounds or 4 pounds of water in them and lift those and do your corrective exercise with those, because you don't need a lot of weight for those exercises. So you can make weights yourself as long as you can balance it out evenly. And you can, a jug in water, you can make your weights for 25 cents, or for free, because after you drink the water or whatever it is, you can just, coffee cans, you could put sand in them, you just weigh it out, and then boom, you have your own weights. So for the really light weights, if you only have barbells, you don't want to spend money on dumbbells for corrective exercises, for the, your rotator cuff, for certain movements, then you can just make your own weights or get a very light pair. Like I'm saying, you don't need 15s, 20s, 25s, 30s for stabilization exercises for dumbbells in many cases. You can make a lot of progress doing these very high intensity, very strenuous postural corrective exercises with very light weight, where 3 or 5 pounds will be a huge struggle. So stabilization, I mean small muscles, I mean stabilizers, I mean getting in there. So dumbbells and barbells, they both have their place. They're wonderful, they're fantastic, and they are both victorious today in our Super Swole Sunday. So thank you for joining me for episode 275, where we break down and Lord Swolenormous and Dumbledore went head to head. And if you don't get that reference, that Harry Potter reference, I suggest you take a couple days out of your life and catch up and get on my fucking level. Get on my level. So I hope you enjoy your Sunday. I hope you enjoy your Sunday with family and friends. If you're into football and you're watching the game, be good. Don't eat too much garbage. And Papa Swole fucking Normous will be here tomorrow, as always, 12 noon Eastern time on Facebook Live at Swolenormous, YouTube at Swolenormous, and also SoundCloud and iTunes on the podcast. Catch me on Instagram and also on Snapchat for more vlogs. Let's fucking get huge this week. It's Sunday like any other. Remember, for my Swolenormous Premium members, that tomorrow is the accountability meeting, so make sure you're there at 1 p.m. after the Daily Swole. If you're interested in signing up for Swolenormous Premium for more program design, trust me, in the next week or so, you want to sign up for Premium. If you've been kicking around the idea of signing up for Premium, you want to do this now, because it's very likely that enrollment for Premium will be closed once my program launches. And the idea, as it stands, is that Premium members will get exclusive access and discounts to the program when it launches, and everyone else that does or is interested in the program will be included a membership, because Premium is going to be a very integral part of the program I'm about to release with continuing education, new exercises, adjustments, modifications, exercises and workouts you can swap in and you can modify. So premium is going to be huge, huge, huge. And it is the ticker for premium is running out, I promise you. So make sure that if you're interested in signing up for my premium accountability group right here on Facebook, you can click the sign up button at the top of the page. Do it now. Don't wait. It's only $4.99 a month. So it is a massive, massive, massively valuable investment in your health. And it's less than a shitty Subway sandwich, as I always like to say, because that's crap. Don't eat that today. Don't you dare eat a sub today. Well, maybe if it's a good, juicy sub with lots of grass-fed beef and steak. Oh, I am so hungry right now. I'm so hungry. I can't wait to go eat. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to see you on 276 mañana. Later, guys.